they might be able to use it. So, okay, we're recording now. Anyway, so I'm going to share my screen. Maybe, there we go. All right, so this is just kind of a fictitious company. And here's some data up in the right-hand corner as to their purchases and their sales during the month of July. And what I found is just by like walking through the same company with first in, first out, last in, first out, and weighted average, like right in a row, boom, 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 it seems to help clarify everything. And so I wanted to just do that, and I'll try to do it quickly, but I'm going to go fast enough that if you're going, if you want me to stop and explain something, just jump in there, okay? Because I don't want to. I also don't want to, drag it out forever. And so here's this company, Mike's Mango Mincers, or Mongo, depending on where you live. Anyway, so the activity for the month is on the 1st of July. They have 8 units on hand with a cost of $74 per unit. And then on the 6th of July, they sell 6 units. On the 11th of July, they purchase 4 more units at a cost of $79. On the 14th of July, they sell 4 units. And then on the 21st of July, they purchase 5 more units. And I think, why do I have a 27th but have no data for the 27th? That's weird.
Yeah, in the back.
I think in the homework there's another sales unit.
Yeah, that would make sense. And it looks like when I set this up ahead of time, I had that, but I'm like wondering if I just deleted it or something just now, because I set this up ahead of time. Let me look real quick at what I pulled that from, which this is actually not from the homework. It's from a class I teach at another college, but it's the same concepts. And just the way this is laid out, I found it to be a little more helpful. Let's see. Oh yeah, on the 27th of July, they sell 3 units. Okay, so there's my data. So I'm just gonna walk through this first in, first out. And again, this may be easy for most of you, or it may be hard, I'm not sure. But please stop me and ask questions as I go, because I think that's the value in it, as we try to explain the process. So on the 1st of July, I have 8 units on hand, and their cost was $74 per unit. So my total cost for those units is the 8 times the 74, $592. That's a piece of cake. On the 6th of July, I sell 6 units.
So is this perpetual that we're doing?
So for the purposes of this, what we're doing, yes, this is perpetual, and because we're keeping track each time we buy and each time we sell.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we sell 6 units. And so always the question when we're doing this, this first in, first out, last in, first out, weighted average, is which units am I selling, right? Because that's what we're trying to figure out. Am I selling in this case, I only have units that cost $74, but as I get more units, there'll be some confusion or some ambiguity into which unit I'm selling. So at this point, I'm going to sell 6 units. All of them are these units that cost $74. So the total cost of the units I'm selling is just the $6 times, the 6 units times the $74. And the value of my remaining inventory, if I sold 6 of those, is that I have 2 units that cost $74. And so the value of my inventory on hand is just the 2 units times $74.
Mm-hmm.
So now on the 11th, I purchased 4 more units. And these units cost $79. So again, the total cost of those is going to be the 4 units times $79. So now the units that I have on hand are going to be the units I already had, the 2 that cost 74, plus the ones I just bought, the 4 that cost 79. So now on July 14th, I'm in a good position. When I sell units, I'm going to sell 4. And the question is, well, which ones do I sell? The answer is, this is first in, first out. So I'm actually going to sell, if I sell 4 units, I'm going to sell my oldest units first. So I'm going to sell 2 of the $74 units. And since I sold 4, 2 of the $79 units, leaving me with 2 of the $79 units at the end. So the big question is always, which units did I sell? So on first in, first out, I'm selling the first ones I purchased. So I'm selling I'm selling those 2, plus 2 of these newer units. of July, I purchased 5 units at a cost of $85 a piece. I'm just it's not gonna let me do it. So I just have to type that formula in, sorry. And so now the units I have on hand will be 2 units that cost $79 a piece and 5 units that cost $85 a piece. So the trick to first in, first out, last in, first out is always keeping track of how much each unit I have costs, and I always keep them listed in chronological order. So my oldest units are listed first. So I have 2 units at 79 and 5 units at 85. Then on the 27th of July, I sell 3 more units. Which units? Well, it's the oldest ones. And so I actually only have 2 of the oldest ones, the $79 units, and then 1 of the $85 units.
With the first in, first out?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, because I'm selling these oldest ones first.
Okay.
And then
Whatever's left over. Okay.
Right. So I sold 3 total.
Okay.
And so my remaining units in inventory then are going to be 4 of the $85 units. And then if I want, I can figure out totals. So during the period, I sold 9 units total. I'm sorry, purchased 9 units total for a total cost of $741. I sold 13 units for a total of $993. And then my inventory on hand, I wouldn't take as a total, right? It would, at the end, I would just say at the end of the period, I have 4 units with a total cost of $340. So the total for inventory on hand is always just what I have left over at the end of the period. Okay. So last in, first out is gonna look a lot like this, but the opposite, right? And so again, in the beginning, it's gonna look exactly the same, which is I started with 8 units that cost $74. Then I purchased 6 more units that cost, I sold 6 units that cost $74. So I have 2 of those $74 units left over. So last in, first out is easy if you, or well, either first in, first out or last in, first out is easy if I only have all of my units cost the same. Then it doesn't really matter, right? Because always what we're trying to figure out is, well, which units did I sell? Which units of which cost? All right, on the 11th of July, I purchased 4 units at $79 a piece. So now I have 2 units that cost 74 and 4 units that cost 79. So again, I'm in the same situation for right now as I was with first in, first out. The difference comes when I make my first sale here, where I have units of multiple of different costs. So on the 14th of July, I sell 4 units. And the question is, wait, which units am I selling? And the answer is it's the last in. So my most recently purchased units. In this case, it's the $79 units. Which leaves me then with the 2 units that cost $74 still in inventory. So there's the big difference between first in, first out and last in, first out. On the 21st of July, I purchased 5 more units with a cost of $85. So now I have 2 units that cost $74. Those are my oldest units. And 5 units that cost $85. That's my newer units. And then finally on the 27th, I sell 3 units. And again, which units am I selling? Well, it's the most recently purchased or the last in. So it's going to be 3 of these $85 units, leaving me with 2 of the $74 units and 2 of the $85 units left in inventory. Again, I can find my totals. I'm just going to cheat here and copy this formula, or copy and then paste that formula in there. And then here, I'm going to say I have 4 units at the end with a total cost of. So I went through that pretty fast. Does everybody feel comfortable with what I did there, or would you like me to explain anything? I never know if silence means like I have no idea what to even ask you, or yeah, I got this.
I got this part. I need help on the when you find the ending inventory in, I think it's period.
Okay, well, we'll get there. Let me just finish this up. The weighted average is the last one. I'm just going to move all my info down here so we can see it. All right. So with the weighted average on the 1st of July, we have 8 units, cost of $74 a piece. Then on the 6th of July, we sell 6 of those units that cost $74, leaving us with 2 units that have a cost of $74. Here, we could figure out our total cost the same way, right? It's the quantity times the unit cost. And if we wanted to figure out our average cost, we would just take the total cost and divide it by the quantity, which right now is obvious because we only have these units that cost $74. Same thing, $148. So if we want to do the average cost, we would just say total cost divided by quantity. And of course, it's going to be 74 at this point because, well, that's the only units we're dealing with so far.
All right.
But now it'll get a little more complicated. On the 11th, we purchased 4 more units that cost $79 a piece. So now we have 2 units that cost $74 and 4 units that cost $79. Our total cost is the same thing, the number of units times the unit cost. But now to find our new average cost, which we're going to need to apply the next time we make a sale, what we have to do is take our total unit cost, our total cost, which is the cost of the $74 units plus the cost of the $79 units, and divide that by the total number of units. So we have 2 of the $74 units plus 4 so 6 total units. And that's going to give us a new average cost. And then that average cost will apply whenever we make a sale. So on the 14th of July, we sell 4 units at an average cost of $77.33. So we'll say the total cost of that was 4 times 77.33. And then remaining in inventory, we have 2 units with an average cost of 77.33 for a total cost of 154.66. Then on the 21st of July, we purchased 5 more units at $85 a piece. And so now sitting in inventory, we have 2 units with an average cost of $77.33, and then 5 units with a cost of $85. Again, we'll figure out our total cost. And our new average cost is going to be the cost of the $77.33 units plus the cost of the $85 units divided by our total number of units. So the number of $77.33 units plus the number of $85 units. And now that's the new average cost will apply the next time we make a sale. So on January 27th, or I'm sorry, July, that should be July. I know everybody knows, but on July 27th, we sell 3 units at our average cost of $82.81. And we're going to have, we had 7, so now we're going to have 4 units remaining at an average cost of $82.81. And then again, the same thing. We can do our total quantity. And then our inventory on hand at the end of the period is just going to be what we have, 4 that cost $331.24. All right, so again, I went through that pretty fast. What you'll see is, so in this scenario, right, we were in a period of rising costs. We paid 74 for our first units we had, then 79, then 85. So what we'll see is when we do first in, first out, our cost of goods sold will be the highest, and our remaining inventory on hand will be the lowest or will also be the highest. Is that right? And then with last in, first out, it'll be lower, and then the average will be in the middle. And that's always the case when you have a situation with rising costs, because you're dealing with the first units going out. In a period of falling costs, it's going to be the opposite. Not that that really matters. So business
owners, do we have to deal with that a lot? That wasn't a lot about falling costs. There was like maybe a few sentences.
There wasn't. I wouldn't even worry about it. I was just trying to show the idea is if you're a business owner, a lot of people like first in, first out because it often mirrors how you sell your product. You tend to sell especially grocery stores or anybody with perishable goods. Mm-hmm. Some businesses like last in, first out, and then the weighted average is considered by many to be a more conservative measure because it's sort of in the middle. And since if you really don't know which units you're selling, doing the ones in the middle seems like a more conservative approach. Anyway, so I wanted to go through that because I feel like seeing all 3 of them together sometimes helps people. I know it was like 15 or 17 minutes worth of me talking, so I apologize for that.
That's okay.
And then, you know, I guess if there's questions on this, I would entertain them, or then we can move into questions about other problems in this week's work.
When you post these videos, can we share them with friends that are in the class, that are not in your class, but they're like in the class, that might help them understand? Yeah,
I think so, because what I'm posting, I upload these all to YouTube.
Okay.
And then I'm just embedding that YouTube video into Canvas. So I think there's probably a way. Yeah, they are public. But
So I can look up your name and on YouTube.
probably, I don't know how many, there's probably lots of Mike Foxes. There's the one's way more famous than me.
Okay.
Um,
I
I'll have
have
to
a
look at
question.
I'll have to look at that and see if there's a way, or maybe I'll, in addition to putting the embedded file, I'll just include a link that you could share.
That would be cool because I have a neighbor who's in it and she's struggling. So
Okay.
I thought it would be helpful.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, whoever just started to talk.
That was Patricia, I think.
I have a question really quick.
Okay.
So I had this problem as a homework to video, and I did it wrong with the sharing, not did it in public or whatever. But I didn't do this problem how you're doing it now. So you're just giving us this option as to understand how to do it, or this is an easier way to, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I did it totally different.
No, I was simply using this approach because I feel like it helps some students wrap their brain around it better.
Okay.
I feel like it lays it out conceptually, maybe in a different way.
Okay, I was just curious about why. Okay, thank you.
No, Liz, if you didn't do it exactly how I did it, you're fired. Like, that's it.
Well, actually, I'm sorry, but actually, this confused me a little more.
Okay. Well, and that's the challenge, right? Always when, this class has 50 students in it, the chances that one style of doing something is going to click for everybody is low.
Yeah.
So if your way worked better, did you go in and change your permissions on that one? So it was public?
I did.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just caught it late last night, but I did
Okay.
do it.
Yeah, I didn't even get to look at it. I was just assuming it was awesome.
Sorry. Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. So what questions can I answer? Or can we look at in the homework set or whatever?
I had a question on 6-9A. I don't know if this is what you're going to work on or make a video on. The second part where it asks for the FIFO, the average, and the LIFO.
All right.
It says,
Let me pull it up so everybody
Yeah.
can see it. And I think that'll be the best way.
Okay.
You ever have like so many tabs up on your other screen that you're just
Yeah.
like, okay, so give me a second. Let's see where it is. All right, so this is in homework 2.
yeah, second part, yeah.
All right, cool. And then 6-9A. So I think, right?
You
can
helped me
see
out with the first part.
and I stole the numbers from
Yeah.
this, but then built it out a little bit differently for the one we just worked out. So
Yeah.
you're talking about part A2 or part B?
The second part, yeah, A2.
Okay, I was like, well, is A part of the first part, A2? Or, anyway, okay.
So is the perpetual inventory system a little different?
No, so yeah, what I just did was a perpetual situation.
Oh, that okay. All right.
So determine the ending inventory under perpetual inventory system using first out, moving average, and last in, first out.
Okay. I can just go back to the video then and
Okay,
work
so
it out.
yeah, in essence, what I just did, where's that Excel spreadsheet? Should do that, although I think I may have, yeah, look, I messed you up on the numbers here. I did 3 on the last one instead of 4. So they sold 3 on that last one. But
That's okay.
this is how you would do it, is you just, in essence, you'd say, like, so if you're finding out the ending inventory, that's this number here, the inventory on hand at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the process.
Okay.
And you might do it a little quicker than me, because really all you have to do at the end is say, well, which units do I still have? So you could, instead of having to lay it all out in a spreadsheet like I did to try to be more conceptual with it,
Yeah.
you could pretty much say, okay, I have 8 at 74. I sell 6 of those, so now I have 2 at 74. I purchased 4 at 79. Well, 4 of those, so I'm selling the 2 74s and the 2, so I have 2 at 79 left. Purchase 5 at 85. Sell 4, which means I'm selling the 2 at 79 plus you know, you could probably just do that on scratch paper and say at the end I'm left with 3 units that cost 85, and that would give you the first in first out.
Hmm.
And then you know you probably don't need to do a big Excel spreadsheet if that seems overwhelming.
Right. Okay. I have a question. Can we use Excel on the exam, or is
Yes.
that? Oh,
Yes,
we
you can.
Cool. Okay, that was my main question.
Okay. What other questions are out there?
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
To use it on the Excel and the exam, the Excel sheet has to be blank, and then we have to do all that, or
Correct. You
that work?
cannot. So your Excel sheet can't have anything in it.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's in essence notes, right? That's
Right.
which
Okay.
would be awesome, but I don't write the rules.
And no scratch paper.
Nope. Well, okay.
You can use a blank piece of paper.
Yes, I don't mind you using scratch paper because that whiteboard stinks bad.
Okay.
I just used a whiteboard last time.
Right.
I
I'm saying
just
the
chose the
electronic whiteboard stinks.
Oh, yes, I agree.
So
It's awful.
so I'll tell you on exam 2, I had one exception noted by Proctorio, and it had nothing to do with people using scratch paper. It had to do with someone's screen not being like they had somehow blocked their screen from being visible, and so that's probably an issue, right? You know, you can't make your, so that's when we're looking into. But as far as we have not had the system has not given us any problems with somebody showing a blank piece of scratch paper and saying, hey, I'm using scratch paper and I'm using my calculator here, and so we haven't had any problems with that at all.
Oh, I didn't know you could do the blank paper, because that would have helped in last exam for me. But I'll use it this time.
I think it was on, I don't know if you scroll up, what was the last part of this problem?
Up or down?
B. No, that wasn't it.
B is pretty easy if you got A2, right? Like,
I think it was this ending inventory one. I was having a hard time with that one. Because
so
when you do cost of goods sold, you do the first one that's in for FIFO,
right.
and when you do
Right.
LIFO, do the last one that's in. But then when you do end in inventory, it flips.
Right. So
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So here's this is how I would do it. Like in a quick way, I would say, okay, on first in, first out, I start with 8 units at $74 a piece. And then I sell 6. So I'm going to say I now have 2 units at $74 a piece. That's what I have left in my ending inventory. Then I purchase 4 more units at $79. So this is just how I would do it, like quick, if I was trying to just do my homework. And then I would say, okay, I sold 4 units. Which ones did I sell? Well, on first in, first out, I sold all 2 of these $74 ones and 2 of those $79 ones. So now I have 2 of the $79 ones sitting in my ending inventory after that sale. Then I purchased 5 more at 85. Then I sell 4 more, and I'd ask myself, which 4 did I sell? I sold all 2 of these 79 plus 2 of these 85. So at my end, I have 3 units that cost $85, and then I would say 3 units times $85. That gives me an ending inventory of $255.
And that's on FIFO.
Yes.
Okay.
And
then
so that's
LIFO.
kind of right.
Oh, sorry.
You want me to go through it that way too, just to?
Sure. Yeah.
So this is kind of like quick and dirty, right? But it's sufficient.
Yeah.
So I would do the same thing. I would say, okay, I have 8 units that cost $74, and then I sell 6. So after I sell 6 of those, I now have 2 units that cost $74.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the 11th, I purchased 4 more that cost $79. So I might even separate that by a line to make my, so that's what I have in inventory at this point. Then on the 14th, I sell 4. So which 4 do I sell? The last one's in. So
all
after that
those, okay.
sale, I'll have 2 left that cost me 74 in my inventory.
Okay.
And then on the 21st, I'll purchase 5 at 85. And then when I sell 4 more, well, which 4? Well, 4
Out
of
of the
these
5.
$85. Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll have 2 that cost 74. And I'll have 1 that costs 85 left in inventory.
Okay.
Multiply that out, and that would tell me the value of my ending inventory.
Okay.
Oh,
So you just keep
that's
the
much
one
quicker
that.
than what I did.
What's that?
I said that's quicker than what I was doing, that's for sure. Like I had all, the date and the purchase and the sale and the balance.
Well, and often, like, until you go through it a couple times, you're not ready to do it like quick and dirty like that. That comes from being more comfortable with it. And so, that's everything in life, right? The better you get at something, you look back and go, why was that so hard? But it's because you just started with it. Anyway, Jesse, you said something?
No, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, good. All right. Any other questions?
So you would do the same thing with the average.
Yeah, that'd be a little tougher because I'd have to figure out my average at each step, right? So that when I
That's
sold
true.
it, but it's still the same concept.
I mean,
Yeah,
you could
so
just
after
have
sale,
another
you-
column.
Yeah, exactly. For the average, which is
Like
in
you-
essence
like you
like
did
what
here,
this is. Yeah.
Right. So you could have like three or 4 columns.
Right.
So stick it
It's
with
Excel. The world is your oyster. Okay. I tell my wife I wish women were like Excel, because when I put my input in, there's a predictable output. But sometimes in my marital relationship, the input that always seemed to get a positive output suddenly doesn't work, and so it's very confusing to me. Anyway, and we're raising children, maybe like same thing. I have a teenage daughter that one day loves it when I tell her that her hair looks nice today, and another day gives me a dirty look when I tell her the same thing. I don't know what it means. But if I could just punch that into Excel or like an algorithm and know exactly what to say at the right moment, that'd be nice.
So has anyone here used Excel on their exam so far that's in this meeting?
Not yet.
I did.
Yeah, I've used Excel.
So you just open up your Excel on your computer and like put it side by side, or just like pull it up to use it and then put it down?
No,
You can minimize the 2 windows and then just use them simultaneously.
Yeah, I mean, like how I have them here, 2 side by side, or if you're
Okay.
lucky enough to have a second monitor or a third.
Well,
That I don't.
Then you're flexing on all your accounting friends. Like, check it out. I could have 3 spreadsheets and a data set open, and they're all jealous of you.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I mean, I'm not, I'm not trying to push anybody to ask more questions. I just want to make sure I answer your questions. I do have a son with a birthday that I'm trying to get to at some point here, but
oh,
I'm not trying to rush you because he knows I usually work till 7. So, and he's 16. It's not like he's a little kid blowing out the candles. He'll be okay.
I have a question about the exam. Do you know if this exam will have us put the numbers in like blank spaces, or is it just multiple question?
I believe there's some of each.
Really?
Yeah, you hate those, don't you?
I do. I always get them wrong. Last exam it said that it was going to have something like that, but it didn't. I was
Right.
glad. I like when I can rule out the options.
Sure.
I know I was
Give me about 30 seconds. I'm on my other screen over here, the one that you can't see, I hope. And I'm pulling up the exam, and I can tell you. I can tell you with exactness. Okay, I can't. I mean, let's see. This is exam 3. And I think if I hit preview, it'll let me see what. Okay. Sorry, I got a taste of our own medicine when it popped up with like a Proctorio warning. So let's see. Those are all multiple choice. all multiple choice. Maybe they got rid of the fill-ins because nobody liked them. But then if they did that, they would just get rid of all these exams, right?
Yeah.
So I got rid of all my daughter's boyfriends because I didn't like them. But we're past the statute of limitations. So, okay, let's see. Question 38. So here's one question with a fill in the blank. 2, 3. The last 3 questions have fill in the blanks. So yeah, there you go. There's
But
3 of
that's
them.
for about chapter 5, like the rate, like the rate and stuff, like formula, using a formula.
I am not going to tell you what chapter those are from. I'm going to tell you there's 3 questions that have fill in the blank.
Yes.
I'm probably already being a naughty boy by looking at this. Let's see.
I do have a question on your link to studying for exam. For chapter 6, the first self-test.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of the questions on there that I'm confused about, but I don't know which one it is without looking at it.
Okay. Well, and unfortunately, it may be
Yeah,
hard
okay.
because I think it pulls from a pool of questions. Like it might be hard to find the same question unless you saved it or something.
It was like there was 180,000 inventory.
You said chapter which? 5 or 6?
It was 6, and it was the first practice self-test.
Okay.
And there was one about, there was 180,000 inventory, and then it said these things were not considered. And then the first one was about consignment.
So right here.
That was like 35,000. And
as a result of a thorough physical inventory, railway company determined it had an inventory worth $180,000 at December 31st, 2014. This count did not take into consideration the following transactions. Rogers Consignment Store currently has goods worth $35,000 on its sales floor that belong to Railway, but are being sold to Consignment Rogers. The selling price of these goods is $50,000. Railway purchased 13,000 of goods that are shipped on December 27th FOB destination that will be received by January 3rd. So what they're trying to get you to do is to evaluate these 2 things and decide whether or not they should be added to inventory,
it's just the consignment part.
Sure.
It's more confusing.
Sure. So consignments are goods that we have given to another seller to sell, but that seller has never taken any legal possession of them. And what I mean by that is they sit at the seller's store, but if they don't sell, they're still mine and I just have to take them back. So if I have goods that are on consignment somewhere else, they're still part of my inventory.
So since this inventory is Railway that we're talking about.
Right.
So Rogers has Railway's inventory.
Right.
So Railway sent them inventory and they haven't sold it.
Right.
So it's on consignment.
Right. So it should be part of our inventory.
So
because we didn't sell it to Railway, it's just sitting there on Railway's sales floor.
No, it's on Rogers' sales.
I'm sorry, on Rogers' sales floor. Yeah.
So we would put 35. So we would add 35,000.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. They just put the selling price in there to throw you off a little.
Yeah. Confounding variables, or whatever you want to call it. Obfuscation. Some word that makes you sound smart. I don't know.
Railway purchase, so they're the buyer. So the seller sent it FOB, so it's theirs until it gets there. So we would add that one in too.
Let's see. So we're the purchaser of $13,000 worth of goods.
Right. So a purchaser is someone who buys something.
Right.
So Railway is
and it's
buyer,
FOB
basically.
destination, which means Railway is not going to take possession of those goods until it gets to Railway on the 3rd. So we correctly left that out of our inventory. That shouldn't be part of our inventory.
So it's 180,000 plus the 35,000.
Right.
So it's the 215,000.
Correct.
Okay. So every time I pull up this exam, it pulls new questions? Like it
I'm not sure
rearranges
of that
them?
because I just pulled it up and it did. You know, this is stuff that I pulled from the publisher's website. They still
Mhm.
had links to these old exams, and I put the links in there because I felt like these old exams were in some ways closer to what our exams are than any of the homework assignments were. So I just thought
That, I
they were
feel like they
valuable
are
for people
too, because they're asking you questions to get you to think about
that feel more like
what
the exam
they
questions.
feel like the exams.
Right. Except without all
So,
the sweaty palms and nervousness.
right, you're not timed 2 hours. So
How do we pull those up again? Is that in the announcements?
Yeah, so in the announcements, there's a
Okay.
link to this additional study content, and seriously,
Okay.
it's just a Google Doc. That's my
Yeah.
my poor man's website, where I just put a bunch of additional content that I've kind of put together over the years in there.
Brother Fox, I was gonna ask you if you have a link for the exam checklist. I think that's what's called.
Uh-huh.
the study guide.
Yeah, the study guide. Yes, like a recording. Do you have one for the exam 3?
Not yet. I was gonna do it today, and then
Oh,
I
okay.
got busy, so I was gonna make one tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry
That
about
was
that.
helpful.
That
Yeah,
is.
I didn't, you know, it's just me talking, so I thought most people might be like, "Ah, this guy never shuts up." That's what most people say. So
No, but it's
I'm
it's
glad
a
to hear
lot
you like
there.
it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like sometimes you word it differently than what the
Right.
paper reads, and it's like, oh, this is what they mean. Okay.
Right. I just try to talk through the concepts a little.
Yes.
Yeah, and
I
that's
like
what
that.
stinks about online classes, right? Because that's what happens in class, in a face-to-face class,
Yeah.
is people ask questions, and then there's a discussion, and then you know, that's the challenge of online learning. But you know,
Um,
but it's still better than having to
those
be at a certain place at a certain time.
on Facebook, we created a group called Accounting 201. There's only like 3 or 4 of us on there, but we pass stuff back and forth, and sometimes we'll have Skype call or Zoom calls and stuff, and we usually put it there if you guys are interested.
All right.
So.
Anything else? Good. We actually covered a lot of ground, I think. So, action-packed 45 minutes of accounting class.
Oh, there was another question on there. It said, what? It's probably there. Let's see. Number 7.
Which of the following is not a legitimate business reason for taking a physical inventory?
And what's not included in the physical inventory was another question.
Okay, so which one?
Both, if you have time.
Okay, let's see. To check the accuracy of the perpetual inventory records, that's pretty legit. Determine the cost of goods sold in a periodic system. Let me see what the others are. Determine if any inventory has been lost from waste, that's normal. And to verify the profitability of individual inventory items. This is a dumb question. Because I'm not sure what they're getting at.
I'm not sure what they're getting at either. That's what I said.
Yeah, I would say D, to verify the profitability of individual inventory items. I don't know. I mean, you could take an inventory in a periodic system to figure out the cost of goods sold, and then the cost of goods sold would tell you, you know, you could say, well, what did I pay for, you know, so like ultimately it could lead to that, but that's not why I'm taking the physical inventory. I'm tuning it to determine the cost of goods sold, so that in the end, I'm going to calculate profitability, but usually as a whole, not on specific items. But this whole like legitimate business reason, okay, I own the business. If I say it's a legitimate reason, if I want to know the profitability of that individual
so
item, that's
like,
who's to say? Who's going to tell me? Okay, I'm feeling rebellious right now. I'm reading the second book of Saints, and I'm got a little Oliver Cowdery, you know, until they get humble in me still. But he'll get there, and so will I. We know Oliver does all right in the end. Anyway,
Then there was another one that said what's not
let's see.
included in a physical inventory, but maybe I read it wrong. Or maybe that was on, I don't know. Or maybe that was part of me trying to figure out that question. I don't know.
Let's see. There's so many. Okay. Which of the following should not be included in the physical inventory of a company? So goods held on consignment from another company, we just discussed that, and indeed we will include that in our inventory. Goods shipped on consignment to another company.
To another company.
Or to
So
another
you've got
company.
from another company and to another company.
Oh, aha. See, you're thinking like an accountant. You got to pick out those little words. The lawyers and the accountants, they're ruining the world with their one word changes here. So let's see. If we're holding goods on consignment from another company, then we're not going to include that in our inventory because it's not ours. It's theirs.
That's theirs.
Right. So that's the one that's not. So thank you. See, Janice?
Okay.
You got it.
So when it's shipped to someone else,
Yeah, those are our goods, right?
those are our goods, so we count them in ours.
Right. You know, just think of a consignment store, right? You go in there and they have a whole bunch of stuff, often crafts or homemade clothing or things like that, that people have made, and the store charges them maybe a small fee for shelf space, and then maybe a small markup when it's sold, and then the money that they earn from selling it, they return back to the the person who provided it.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
let's call an end to this, and I will get home to a birthday boy. Again, it can't be Jesse because he said the opening prayer, and it's just weird to say the opening and the closing prayer. I mean, it's been done.
That happens when you only have a few people at your house, though.
I know. Yeah, as our kids keep moving away, and then like the kids are like, "How come I always get asked to pray?" And it's like, well, because
there's two of you.
Yeah, yeah. not the good old days when there were 9 of you, and the 3-year-old wanted to say the prayer every time. So,
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, anybody else have a volunteer?
I'll say it.
Okay, thanks.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day. We're thankful for the time we've had today to accomplish things in, and we ask that we can receive thy help in our studies, that we might be able to do well on our exam and be able to recall those things which we've studied. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Now, this might seem like splitting hairs, but I have found, just remember, every teacher has been to a ton of school.
I think you froze.
Oh, did I freeze? Anyway, I have found that I do better when I pray and ask Heavenly Father to help me learn than when I ask him to help me do well on a specific thing. But that's my own experience. I'll just throw that out there as a guy who's been to tons of school. Anyway, if I'm frozen,
thank you.
you didn't hear me anyway. Have a great day.